Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's live Zoo to You. My name is Katie, and I'm an educator here at Stone Zoo. And if you've watched any of my Zoo to Yous in the past, you might know that one thing I love to celebrate here at the zoo are birthdays. So we are celebrating the very soon birthday of our 6 Mexican gray wolf boys. Their birthday is this Saturday, and they will be turning 3 years old. So if you've had a chance to come to the zoo, you might have seen our Mexican gray wolves. This pack is very curious of what we are up to, and so you might have seen them coming down to the glass and getting a good look at everyone. Mexican gray wolves are a critically endangered species here in North America. They are native to the Southwest and Mexico, and they're found in states in the United States like Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. And in Mexico, they're found in Sonora, Durango, and Chihuahua. Our 6 boys came from the Wolf Conservation Center in New York. They were a litter of 9 pups. They're 3 sisters, and their parents still live there. And they were brought here to Stone Zoo as part of their species survival plan recommendation. A species survival plan is a plan to help preserve genetic diversity in populations of animals that are within human care. And that's really critical for this species. They are critically endangered. There are 131 Mexican gray wolves in the wild. And that might not sound like very many, and it's not very many. However, their population in the 1970s was down to 11 wolves total. So that's when the United States government, the Mexican government, kind of joined together to help save this species from going on the brink of extinction. So this is where zoos come in to help. Zoos paired up with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and we created an SSP for these wolves. We brought them into human care and began to help breed and preserve this population. So that number went up from 11 wolves to 131 in the wild, and that number is slowly growing every year. So this is a really important conservation success story, and it's one of my favorite to tell about our wolves here at Stone Zoo. And while we have 6 males, 6 brothers here, packs that we have had here at Stone Zoo in the past have had pups. Those pups have gone off to a secondary facility, kind of more like a wildlife preserve, and their pups went out into the wild. So I love getting to think about the fact that there are pups out in the wild whose great-grandparents or maybe even great-great-grandparents lived here at Stone Zoo. It's really cool to see that conservation work in action and working out in their native habitat. And I didn't talk about why they're critically endangered. So up until around the 1600s, there were thousands of Mexican gray wolves. However, when colonizers came to North America, they also brought livestock with them. And wolves are predators, so they would occasionally prey on that livestock. So the wolf extermination started happening, and this happened for a lot of large predators and large carnivores in North America, and they were almost completely wiped out. So there's a lot of work being done today by zoos, by the government, and there is also a lot of work being done by indigenous populations down in the Southwest, like the White Mountain Apache tribe. They have their own fish and game department, and they've been managing the wolves populations on native lands, which is really, really cool. So in their natural habitat, they'll be eating things like javelinas, mule deer, occasionally livestock. Here at the zoo, they get fed a carnivore diet. They get fed a ground meat And our ground meat at the zoo is a little bit different than what you might find at the grocery store, because ours is not just meat. There's also tendons, some fur, bits of bone, all ground up, and that gives our carnivores a well-balanced meal. These are all things that they would be eating when, hunting prey out in their natural habitat. And they'll also get an exotic canine chow, which is kind of like dry dog or cat food, but it's specially formulated for larger canines. And Rachel, have we had any questions come in that I could answer?
Yes, I'm going to double up on a couple of them.
Okay.
So one was, how many are there? And the other was, what are their names?
Oh, good question. So we have 6 wolves here. They are all brothers. They're turning 3 years old, and their names are actually really special. They are all named after female conservationists. So if anyone out there is wondering how to tell them apart, I am not the person to answer this question. I have a really difficult time telling them apart, but I can tell you their names are Beatty, Leck, Craighead, Carson, and Goodall, and I'm missing one. Mittermeier. Thank you. So they are all named after female conservationists. And if you do come to the zoo, we have signs about the women that they're all named after. So not only can you learn more about our wolves, but you can learn about these amazing women in the conservation field.
Jen was wondering if you can do your best wolf howl.
I've actually never heard this pack howling. I know that they have. It's usually just not when I'm here, but yeah, I'm more of a cat person, so I'll do my best with the canine things.
Okay, there are a few more.
Okay.
MP was wondering, do the pups form wolf packs or pup packs?
That's a good question, Dad. I guess a pup pack. It's a very tiny and cute wolf pack.
And then Deb was wondering if we have any plans to add more wolves to the pack, maybe some females.
Oh, that's a good question. That pairing is all determined by their SSP coordinator and U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So a lot of people have questions about how animals are paired together. And if they're part of that SSP, there is a person who actually looks at the animal's genetics, age. For the wolves, it would be their pack structure, and then they'll make pairings. So as far as I know, there are no immediate plans. However, that could change. This is a critically endangered species. So there could be a determination to, change the pack structure or bring in females or bring males out. So that will all be determined by that SSP coordinator.
And Timothy was wondering, how long do wolves live?
That's a good question. So in their natural habitat, they're not going to live as long as they do here in human care. And that's for a few reasons. Here they have, their meals provided for them, so they don't have to worry about going out and not being able to find food. They also don't have to worry about persecution for being a wolf here at the zoo. So in human care, they typically live up to 15 years. However, our last pack here, if you've been at the zoo in previous years, we did have another pack of all brothers, and our last wolves did pass away last year, but they were 17 years old. So they lived past their estimated life expectancy, which is really amazing. So they lived really long lives here at the zoo.
And have they been at the zoo their whole lives?
Oh, that's a good question. So they've been here for just around a year. They actually came to Stone Zoo last year when we were closed because of COVID-19. So they've been here for just around a year, and I've heard a lot of really cool things from guests of all these cool interactions they're having, because as you can see now, they're really curious. Our last pack, since they were much older, they spent a lot of time sleeping and resting, which is very typical of an older animal. So these wolves, since they are so young, we're finding that they're coming down and kind of inspecting us a little bit more.
I think we have time for one more, and someone asked if this video would be available on the page later to watch, and that's yes.
Yes, and it will be available on YouTube as well, if that is easier for you to access.
All right. Anything else you'd like to say?
If you have any plans to come to the zoo soon, please come and wish our boys a happy 3rd birthday. We are so happy to have them here at Stone Zoo. And he just got spooked by something, maybe a leaf or something landing on him, which is very adorable. So please come by and wish them a happy birthday. And thank you all so much for watching. And be sure to check back for our next Zoo to You. Bye.